What is up, everybody? Welcome to Candid Truth. We're going to talk about the truth and we're going to get candid with it. I'm here with my host, Aubrey.
Hello.
Hello. And we got a guest, a very special guest. Some of you guys might know him. I bet everyone here knows Josh from the Founded Earth Brothers. What's up, Josh?
What's up, everybody? So good to be on here finally live with Candid Truth. This is awesome.
Yeah, man, you had us on your channel and it was so awesome. I can't wait to get back on there, and I just love collabing like this. But you put out a video just like 2 days ago, a couple days ago, that just blew my mind, man. You were like really paying attention to stuff that was going on with Elon Musk and Trump and all this stuff, and just connecting some dots with Bible prophecy, with politics, and just kind of like, where is our world headed right now? It's really like you said a second ago, like you heard Trump's speech and it was like he was reading the book of Revelation. Like, this is where we're at. If you guys do not know Josh and the ministry that he has, the YouTube ministry, is called Founded Earth Brothers. Him and his brother together work on amazing videos and topics talking about biblical cosmology and just prophecy, things like this. And so we're really excited for you to share this on our channel because, man, we want to get the word out to everywhere, to the ends of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this stuff is relevant. It's prophecy. I mean, just yesterday, we saw Congress having a hearing talking about a threat from above, reminding us of Revelation, with Armageddon. They're preparing the world, these unclean spirits like frogs. What are they trying to get the kings to do, the kings of the earth, to war against God Almighty? So it's like they're trying to prepare people to be deceived about what's out there, what's up there. And so they're talking about UFOs, aliens saying they found bodies now, and that it's slowly ramping up. They've had those hearings before. They've talked about these things, and they've tried to keep it mysterious because they know that people are prideful and they're going to want to know everything. And so if you make it mysterious, people are going to seek and they're going to find the information that they want us to find. And it's usually the wrong information. And so we've been programmed our entire lives. And a lot of the things you guys talk about with the Hollywood programming and stuff, it ties in to the scenarios unfolding right now with Elon Musk being this Tony Stark figure. And I've been saying that for years, that I just have this feeling that he's going to be this hero who's going to save us somehow. And now he's saving the people in North Carolina with his Starlink and stuff. So it gets biblical and it's dark at times. I don't like to talk about people, so I usually don't do videos like this. I feel like there's that aspect of slandering someone and talking bad about them. And so I do want to clarify the things I'm saying. These are things that I'm seeing. It doesn't mean it's necessarily true, but it makes a lot of sense given what I've learned in the past about the powers of darkness, what they're doing, what they've been doing throughout biblical history. And so, yeah, it's definitely a deep rabbit hole, probably one of the deeper rabbit holes I've seen in all my years of research.
Yeah, I agree. I believe exactly like you're saying. Like, when I was growing up, I've always believed in aliens my whole life. It started with checking out books in the public library at school, the school public library, on ghosts and aliens, paranormal, all this stuff. And I was a believer. And I was like, this is photographs, these are cop reports, all this stuff. But anything that would come out in the news about UFOs, it was always like, oh, it's verified. It's a weather balloon. It's swamp gas. They never would say it was anything else. But now they're on the news saying we see them every day and have for years, and we've been communicating with non-human intelligences since the 1930s. So those ideas can't coexist. It can't all be swamp gas and weather balloons, and we've been seeing them every day for years. So there was somewhat of a cover-up, a misinformation, disinformation thing. But I think what they're doing is they're trying to put the power in the people's hands. They want, over the years, they put out like, I remember like Fox had the alien autopsy and all this stuff. I was like, well, it's real, It's like they're putting out leaks on Fox. There's no such thing as leaks on mainstream controlled media. But I thought, I'm getting the secrets, and they're trying to cover it up and we need to know. And so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring it so that the people demand, we're sick of you hiding the truth. We know you don't think we can handle it, but we can, and we want to know. and that's like Satan's invitation. Satan can't go, demons can't go anywhere that they're not invited. And so when the people are standing up saying, we demand, show yourselves, Satan's going to come out on the scenes. And like you said, they're having these meetings and everything. It's official Congress meetings. This isn't like UFO conventions anymore.
Yeah, storm Area 51.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what they want you to do. And yeah, it's crazy how much they're putting out there. And when they talk about the spiritual part of it, somebody asked about this being spiritual, and they just kind of sweep that under the rug. And so I'll go ahead. You guys want me to start on this presentation talking about
go for it,
all
bro.
this stuff? Because
Yes.
it's a lot to cover, but it's important that we look at certain aspects. And this one here, this is just something that comes to mind when I think about politics. And I know we all have different backgrounds with politics. Some of us are very serious about it. And my dad, this is actually something I took from him. This is not accurate. You can't find this on like Wikipedia. But my dad used to just jokingly say politics could be broken down into two parts: poly, meaning many, and ticks, meaning blood-sucking parasites. And when he said that, when I was young, it just stuck, and I've remembered it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how true that saying has become. And my dad saying that, I mean, I don't know what motivated him to say that, but he's always been a truther. And so you look that word up, and it's interesting that it says here, especially the debate or conflict among individuals, and politics is a continual, perpetuated state of conflict. And the verse that came to mind yesterday, I was thinking about all this, and the Messiah said, if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand.
Right.
And our Congress has a house system that's literally divided by design.
That's crazy.
And they have all these seats, and it's a two-party system.
That's
and
the
so
Hegelian dialect.
Hegelian.
Yes.
Hegelian
and
dialect. This is, they call it right wing, left wing, but they're two wings of the same bird. That phoenix eagle bird, and there is an agenda. Satan has an agenda. For any Bible believing Christian out there, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is prophecy that Satan is the god of this world, and he's going to be the one to bring about a one world religion, one world government, all that stuff. This isn't conspiracy theory. And so if Satan is truly the god of this world and he's controlling everything, then the political leaders are just a face. They have no power, no authority. There's somebody higher than them. And so what they do is they try to give you this illusion of freedom to make you feel like the power's in your hands. So for 4 years, the pendulum swings right, and the liberals are getting ticked off. But then voting time comes, and we're happy because we get to put in our vote, and it always goes back left. It's always right, left, right, left. When I was growing up, it was Bush Sr., that was Republican. Bill Clinton, that was Democrat. Then it was Bush W., which was Republican. Then it was Obama, which was Democrat. Then it was Trump. It was going back and forth. This is just historical fact, and it's to prevent the people from uprising. Because if you appease one side, then they won't uprise. And then, okay, we need to swing back this way. But it's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back system, where they're implementing these laws that we would never vote for, and then they think, oh, well, this person will take it all back, and maybe they might take a little back, which I mean by 2 steps forward, 1 step back. They might take a little bit back, but they've already went 2 steps forward. So I hear a lot of people say I vote Republican because I'm anti-abortion, yet abortion has been legal our whole life. Nothing's ever changed, no matter who the face of the president is.
Wow. Yeah, when you brought that idea up to me, I was like, I never thought about that, but that's how it's been my whole life. And we're always either waiting 4 years or we're excited, and it's a perpetual state of being divided. I mean, the country, when early on, years ago, 1800s Civil War era, it was North versus South, and now it's left versus right. And so dividing and conquering, they've already gone one direction. Now they're going the other.
Divide and conquer, order out of chaos. Yep.
Huge strategy there. And the thing I want to talk about here, this is like a vision from the book of Enoch. And I know a lot of people stand at different places with Enoch, but I find it fascinating what is in this book, because it was in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the powers that shouldn't be seem to understand a lot of the aspects when it comes to stars And what got me looking into this stuff was Donald Trump, of course, saying a star was born with Elon. And there's a lot to the stars, and it's demonic. And you would not think that. You think, it seems very innocent our whole life. Disney was saying make a wish on a star, all the stuff
Right.
about stars. But right here, Enoch's having a vision or a dream, and what he sees, he's explaining it, and eventually it gets told to him what it means, because he sees one star fall from heaven, and it says that star, when it fell, it says, and rose and ate and pastured among the bullocks. Well,
Mm.
the star would be the fallen angel, the chief of the fallen, and the bullocks would be the people. And it says here, and after that I saw the large and the black bullocks, and behold, all changed their stalls and their pastures and cattled, and began to lament one with the other. And again I saw in the vision, and looked at the heavens, and behold, I saw many stars, and they fell from heaven. Sounds like Revelation. And
Yeah.
were thrown from heaven near that first star, and among those cattle and bullocks, there they were with them, pasturing among them. And so in this book, the watchers were supposed to watch over mankind, but they made a pact. And their oath sounds almost identical to the oaths made by secret societies today. They always bind themselves with an oath. And the
Hmm.
reason they all did that back then was they had the goal of corrupting the world. And you noticed before the flood, the whole world got corrupt. They were corrupting all flesh. And so they were carrying out their goal, and they were all doing it together so that they wouldn't just have one of them be punished, the chief of the fallen, that first star. They all bound themselves. And the oaths to this day for secret societies have a binding aspect to where if you break it, there's all this penalty of death and just horrible things. It's really bad. And they mimic the oath that the fallen took. And it
Wow.
says, and I looked at them, and behold, they all let out their members like horses, and began to mount the cows of the bullocks. And these all became pregnant, and brought forth elephants and camels and asses. That
Mm.
sounds weird. But what this is talking about, because it tells you what this is eventually, those are the three races of giants that were made, the Nephilim. There was three races of them. And in the vision, they were represented by elephants, camels, and asses. And so these unclean spirits know that they have a punishment. It's imminent. It's going to
Yeah.
happen, but their time is now, and they're doing all these things they can, just like they were before the flood. And so these three little creatures here, where it gets interesting, we'll look at that in just a second. But that first star was eventually bound, it says, which had fallen from heaven, and bound it hand and foot, and cast it into an abyss. And so you have that bound aspect, and you read about that in the New Testament, and you're like, why are there angels bound in chains? What's going on? And
Mm.
so that aspect has everything to do with the punishment, because those watchers did not do what they were supposed to do. And so it was in that abyss, deep, narrow, horrible, and dark. And so you have that binding aspect. But when you look at
Wow,
the
dude.
political parties, this is where it gets weird. Remember, those races of giants were viewed as three different creatures: elephants, camels, and donkeys. And when you
That's
look at
crazy.
our political party system, it's interesting that we have just that. And the Prohibition Party, of course, this has gone away, but this was one of the oldest political parties. You can look that up. And here the stars are right there. And if you look at these, like the biblical earth model with the firmament above, stars
Mm.
were placed in the firmament. And then, of course, with your Democrats, they're down there, bound, of course,
Oh, that's
upright.
interesting.
Yeah, and it's red at the bottom, kind of like the underworld where
Fire.
they're at, where they say they're at, bound down there. And so the stars are even interesting. They have them just like the Masonic stars at the very top of the elephant's back, and they change these things from time to time. So you might look up
Yeah.
one where they're upright and one where they're not.
Right.
But
They are
I was,
inverted now. And as somebody that uses Photoshop a lot, like you have to go out of your way to make a star upside down. It doesn't happen with a program that you use, a digital, create, even if you're using clip art or whatever, it's always a pointed up. So anytime you see an inverted star on some graphic design, it was purposeful. It doesn't just happen. And I just wanted to clear the air or whatever. Like you said, not everybody agrees with the Book of Enoch. I personally, I read it, well, listened to it in 2012, and I was interested. And after a lot of study, I don't really hold it as canon. But either way, we know that Satan uses ancient writings as like a playbook. So in the occult world and all that stuff. So whether this is, whether this is biblical canon or not, this is written a long time ago, and we see it playing out today because these occult societies are manifesting things that are written in these ancient writings. And I do believe that there's truth in that anyway, because whoever wrote the book back then, they were living in a time where they understood biblical cosmology. They understood things like fallen angels gave technology to humanity and things like that. I do believe those things. And so this is mind blowing, man.
Yeah. The prophecies, I always try to judge a book by its prophecy. And so far, all the prophecies I've seen in this particular book have come true, including the heliocentric model, things that help me see the firmament. And so there's a lot of things that I've taken out of it. But yeah, I understand so many people, they'll battle with me on this one book. But to me, it's not like a salvation issue. Like if I was teaching it and it was like at the very end of the book, it was like, now be lawless, or something like that. I'm like, okay, stay away from this book. But I couldn't find anything.
I love that. I have friends that believe different things. We can all be friends, man. We can be on each other's channels and share ideas. I love debates. I love sharing information. The viewer gets to decide.
Yeah. And that's the thing about being humble. The greatest in the kingdom are humble. You can disagree with somebody and be humble because we're all where we are for a reason. The Father may have me here to reach somebody, and maybe I could only reach them through the Book of Enoch, or he may have Mikey where he's at because he can only reach somebody that way. Like there's a purpose for things, and sometimes we don't see it right away. So I can't get mad at somebody for not believing something I do. And usually, if you are angry, there's a spirit attached to something that's a lie. And so whenever I know that from experience, when I've been wrong, if I get angry about something for no reason, it's because I'm wrong. Like I used to get mad about my wife keeping the Sabbath when she would try to force that on me. I'm like, why am I getting so angry? And then I found out later I was wrong. She was right.
That's true. We see that anytime somebody comes against conspiracy theory or something like that, like the Sabbath, some kind of biblical truth, the one who's sharing the information is usually just sharing scripture, while the other one's getting angry and calling you names or calling you a Pharisee or whatever. And when it comes to conspiracy theories, we're like, look, this is declassified information or whatever. We're just showing evidence, and the other side, they're getting angry, calling you names. Oh, you tinfoil hat, blah, blah. It's like, you can take it or leave it. I mean, I'm just showing you why I believe it because I see evidence for it. And so when you see that anger, you can kind of already see who's in the wrong. This was a party that started a long time ago?
Yeah, it says it was a political, or the Prohibition Party is a political party in the U.S. Known for its historic opposition to the sale of alcohol, pretty much, because Prohibition was a big thing. They didn't like alcohol, what it was doing to America. And so beverages and everything, that's where you had all the people making their own alcohol and everything. It almost increased crime when that happened.
It did.
Yeah, it's like
it was all
once you make something, I think
everything.
it was by design. I mean, think about it. How do you make something desirable? Tell people they can't have it.
Right. That's so
then
true.
Then it increased. Man. I think that was the big lure of it. It was like, oh, there's this gold. Now it's golden, and you can buy it again. Everybody, I guarantee, when they finally opened up stores for selling alcohol, they were selling out. It was like Black Friday with alcohol.
Yeah.
And now nobody even knows. You drive past a liquor store every day, you don't even care. But if they were to say you can't have it, it would make a frenzy. But it was essentially the oldest existing third party in the United States. And so that's what I thought was fascinating, that I'd never heard of it. I'd never seen the camel logo. Now we've got that house divided evenly, two-party system, but that was a party way back when. And now we have all three of those. And it was crazy. We were actually doing a Bible study on Enoch when I found that, because a person told me that. We were doing the study, and I said, oh my goodness, it's weird that they have the donkey and the elephant, and we have those political party symbols. And somebody goes, oh, don't forget about the camel. It was the Prohibition Party. And I'm like, wait, what? Are you serious?
Funny,
so I looked it up. I was like, this is crazy. So that's why I like having Bible studies. People always bring new stuff to the table. So you can hear what Elon's talking about here.
You said something that caught me right away when we were discussing various issues just before we started.
We got the XAI data center or supercomputer center training from beginning installation to start of training in 19 days, which is the fastest that anyone has ever gotten a supercomputer to train.
And is that in that new building off to the side?
That's in Memphis, actually.
It's in Memphis.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were?
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis,
Okay.
the capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding.
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny.
Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt.
Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Mm.
Yeah, okay, so I want to talk to you about alignment.
I wish that was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
right.
look, I mean, there are a few things we're aiming for with Grok, the XAI.
Yeah, so why'd you pick rock?
Well, I think, because of the meaning of the word.
Yeah.
To grok something is to understand it at a very deep level, and that's what we're aiming for with our AI. The stated goal of XAI is to understand the universe. So to really just understand the nature of the universe, and even what questions to ask about the universe.
Yeah, who did you say? Oh, let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and it came down and down, and you saw all that fire burning. And I'm saying, only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, and them which dwell therein, to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
And it came down and down, and you saw all that fire burning. And I'm saying, only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon.
Whoa, bro.
Alarms are going off when he said, perhaps that's where our new God will come from, because out of Egypt is a big deal. Biblically speaking, coming out of Egypt is a huge deal. It was where our Father set people free. I mean, just so many times. His son even went into Egypt. People forget about that. The Messiah, where did he start out? He went to Egypt, and he came out. You know, like it was coming out of Egypt, coming out of Babylon.
Right.
Is huge.
I'm going to say Egypt, Sodom, and Babylon are like the 3 places you don't want to be associated with. It can be a symbolic thing, just like Revelation talks about Babylon, but Babylon doesn't exist today. It also talks about Israel. We're spiritual Israel. There's neither Jew nor Greek. We're all one in Christ Jesus. So we are citizens of Israel. We're not a nation. And the wicked are citizens of Egypt, Sodom, Babylon. So if there's going to be a new God coming out of Egypt, what does he mean by Memphis? I should have looked into this more. Memphis is the capital of ancient Egypt?
I didn't know that. It's like I learned something from him, because to them, this stuff is really, really important. Learning, like understanding how far back this goes, and it's coming from unclean spirits. Mankind would not be thinking of these things on their own, but he knows this because it's important. I believe. I'm not going to say he's just a Satan worshiper, even though he, wore the soldier of Satan costume. But it seems like to me, just connecting the dots, that there are things in motion. And when you look at Revelation, and you look at not just Revelation, there's mentions of the son of perdition. And I think people, they hear the word Antichrist and they hear about the son of perdition, and they kind of conflate the two, which the spiritual aspect is the same. The spirit of the Antichrist, there were many back then, it says they were already, at work then, denying the Father and the Son. And so the belief systems that he's a part of, that he helps to put in place, are against the Father and the Son, because he is promoting a model of creation and using lying signs and wonders, the fire coming down from above, all these things to eliminate day 2 of creation, which can pretty much just eliminate all of Genesis. If you can get rid of just one part of Genesis, the rest of it has to not be true. It's just fictional. And so our whole lives, we've grown up in a world that's eliminated the very first part of the Bible, and we just would modify our worldview to mold into mainstream science and all these things that seem so believable, because they have the things of this world. Like the enemy offered the Messiah all the stuff of this world. They use like resources are no problem to them. They will use any amount of money trillions of dollars to pull these things off, things that we can't do. It's hard to compete with it. But the
Right.
truth can stand the test of time and science, and you can put the Father's truth to the test and prove it. And then you'll be like, well, what about all this stuff? Well, this is worldly wisdom. It's foolish wisdom. The Bible even tells us that in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, that the wisdom of this world is foolishness to our Father. And so Elon promoting that wisdom and talking about this God coming out of this place, it reminds me of that son of perdition standing in the holy place claiming to be God, doing these miracles, saying that he is God, being blasphemous. And so now he's making a computer. He was talking about this computer system, and he's even talking about it like it's an entity, like, oh, it finished its training in record timing, and already given it this like godlike ability to do these things. And he's real big with AI, making this stuff mainstream. Now it's taking over all of our computers and everything. I can't even go to Google now without an AI answer.
That's true.
But what he was talking about essentially was a supercomputer called Grok. And that word Grok, when you watch the whole conversation, is from a book called A Stranger in a Strange Land. I'd never heard of that book. And I was like, what is this thing? Let me look into that particular book, because if he's naming this AI that he's saying is going to be like where their new God's going to come from, after that, maybe there's something to it. And so I looked into it, and oh my goodness, I forgot about your little X.
Yeah. He seems to be obsessed with this letter X and Y, but when you take his logo and you mirror it, it literally makes the Masonic compass. If you look at the next slide, I mean, I think that's too close to be an accident. Look at how the let's see, the whatever bar that is, I don't know. The first diagonal bar is a thin line. The other one is a wide line. That makes the square, and the top you got the compass. I just don't think that that's an accident, because all these major corporations, Google Gmail is the Masonic apron. You got the Google Chrome, which is the 666. You got Google Play Store, which is the sigil of Lucifer. I just don't think that Elon's exempt from that. He's one of the richest men on the earth, and his logo just happens to make a Masonic compass. If you mirror it, I don't think it's an accident.
No. The square and the compass. And you notice all the people that have that wisdom of this world, they always have a compass in their hand. When they get their picture, it's like, whoa, we can't paint you. Hold this compass, and now we're going to paint you.
Yeah. Like George Washington, all those guys.
They had to hold those things forever. And there was a compass on George Washington, the statue in D.C., and it's like there's like a sun in the middle with a face. It's like their little Helios. It's interesting. And there's the X. I think that's another reason for it. It's that Masonic type of shape, and it's also their deity. The demon that spoke to Aleister Crowley was claiming to be Horus, this ancient deity from Egypt, where, of course, Elon's talking about Memphis, and I did not know Memphis was the ancient capital of Egypt.
That's crazy.
Until watching that discussion. So you learn history when you get into this stuff as well, but they all do that. I mean, you've seen them do that many times. And I used to think that maybe the Egyptians just died going down water slides, like, woo, and they just died. But so there's something sinister there.
I wonder if he meant that the capital of Egypt was called Memphis, not Memphis, Tennessee. But then it makes you wonder, why is Tennessee named Memphis, and why does Nashville have the Parthenon with a 40-foot tall goddess of, who is she? Oh, I can't even remember now, but Athena.
Athena, I thought, yeah.
You got a 40-foot golden Athena statue right there in Nashville, where the witches' pride parades or whatever, they come there and they offer offerings to her. That's happening right here, Tennessee, the Bible Belt.
Yeah, they do it everywhere. I mean, they bring obelisks and stuff. I mean, it gets so dark. When I was looking into sun god worship, the obelisks they transport everywhere, and they set them up. I mean, things that were in prophecy where they were told to tear them down, and they were torn down, but then Rome found them in the rubble and picked them back up and brought them, to America and all these different places. Like, if it wasn't a big deal to them, they wouldn't take these giant stones and ship them over the waters and, to a different continent. Like, it's really important to them to keep these things that pay tribute to their deities that they serve. And it is so dark. And
Yes.
I'll let you talk about this. This is
So that was me actually. I did some research on this X, and it
nice.
says this is what I found directly from several occult sources. I just summarized it. It says in Egyptian mythology, the symbol X is often associated with crossing or the crossroads, symbolizing a. I can't read that.
There's some stuff covering the top of it. Can you read that part?
Which part? Sorry.
Like the second
Symbolizing
line?
Symbolizing a point of transition or the connection between different realms. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Crossroads.
Okay.
Going into
Exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
so it continues. I can see it now. In the context of Egyptian deities, X appears in the imagery of the god Osiris, whose arms were sometimes crossed in mummification to signify resurrection and eternal life. This crossing pose represents the unification of dual forces, such as life and death, or the emerging of the earth and the afterlife. In occult symbolism, X has multiple layers of meaning. It often represents the concept of the crossroads, a place where different paths meet, a potent symbol in both ritual, magic, and witchcraft. In Wiccan traditions, the crossroads can signify a threshold where energies are focused and where spells are more effective, tapping into the idea of meeting between worlds. Kabbalistic practices sometimes interpret the X as a representation of Tiferet, the balancing sphere of the tree of life, merging different energies and acting as a point of divine connection. In modern esoteric and occult contexts, the X can denote hidden knowledge, secrecy, and mystery.
Wow.
Influential figures may use the symbol to convey alignment with these ancient beliefs, often hinting at hidden or esoteric meanings that appeal to mystery and power. The X also symbolizes transformation, a concept central to many occult philosophies, suggesting that those who use it may be signaling alignment with these transformative, often mystical ideals. The popularity of the X in modern media and celebrity culture likely draws on this array of symbolic meanings, merging its historical, pagan, Kabbalistic, and occult significance with contemporary interpretations of power and mystery. So that's not the only thing I found. We didn't get to add this in there quite yet. But the X is also a symbol, just like the pentagram and hexagram, to invoke certain demons.
Yeah, and in weird, they got like Planet X. We hear about that.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting. It talks about the what did it say? It said signify resurrection and eternal life. That's the Ouroboros. That is the rising phoenix out of the ashes. This is all. There's nothing normal about it. It's all occult. It's all Gnostic. Ouroboros rising out of the ashes, meeting in the other realm, and all this stuff. Secrecy. There's nothing good about that.
Yeah. That makes so much more sense, because you saw the world leaders, they all got together and they crossed their arms and were holding hands. And I'm like, why are these world powers doing this? Like, they're not in elementary school doing some sort of PE thing. Like, they're like, hey guys, line up right there, cross arms. Like, who's coordinating this? Like, the fact that you can get these world powers to all agree to do something that makes no sense, that's out of place, it's not comfortable, you can barely reach. Like, there's something spiritual about things like that. So wow, that makes a lot more sense, knowing the X is all about that crossing over aspect. And I guess that's why you see so many in Hollywood doing that same thing.
Someone in the chat mentioned that Memphis has a pyramid. I knew that Nashville did. We were just in Nashville because we actually went to go visit that Athena statue. We're going to be talking about that soon. And pyramids everywhere. What's up, man? This is America, not Egypt.
Yeah.
Black Panther movie did the same thing and had all their fans doing that.
That's true.
Really? Oh, man. I didn't know that.
Because that movie was so racially empowering that black people, they loved it coming out just because it was, about black power. They dismissed all the Gnostic, all the witchcraft, all the stuff that was involved in there. I mean, Black Panther, he got his power from visiting an animal that told him to eat an herb, which made him become a god. That's exactly the Garden of Eden.
It is. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then he drinks from this purple potion that sends him into like this other plane of existence where he's talking to the spirits of the dead, his dead ancestors. It's all about ancestor worship, witchcraft, and Gnosticism.
Necromancy.
Yep,
Wow.
necromancy. And yet everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people just discarded that because it's a movie for black people. And that's how Satan traps you. He wraps up his message in a story that touches your heartstrings.
Yeah. And they seem to really, the unclean spirits really seem to be targeting black people for some reason. It's like they really have a dislike for them and just try to like target them, you know, like give them all these different cultures and norms and things in media. Like they're really being targeted heavily. Of course, it bleeds over into every other culture, but it's like, man, it seems this extra effort goes into that.
It is true.
Interesting. I didn't know that about the Black Panther. All right.
So this book is based on what?
This is Stranger in a Strange Land. It's the one that Elon was talking about that he's naming this new AI supercomputer after. Grok came from this book that he loved. And so when I looked into this book, I thought, well, just let me look into that. It can't be that weird. And then I saw the guy on the cover has this X.
That's crazy.
And he looks like a bound angel. Like, you remember, he's in this abyss. That's where those angels were bound.
Yeah.
And then there's this like upside down mermaid figure. I don't even know what this is. But I just pulled up the book and it brings you to Amazon. And there was a couple different options for the cover of this book.
Wow.
And this one looks like the Messiah. They got, pretty much Adam and Eve figures right here with a serpent, some little golden grail here, and this guy trying to mimic the pose of the Messiah. It appears to me when I look at him, that's what I see.
Well, yeah, his feet are crossed over. He's got his arms out. This is definitely, he's wearing all white, a white robe. This is the most famous science fiction novel ever written.
Are those bones or rocks in those big?
It looks like money.
Okay.
Looks like big stacks of cash, but I could be wrong. I think I see like little dollar bills here, and then it's basically probably Babylon, the modern day Babylon in the background. The purple, scarlet, the curtains back there. Get the purple curtains going on.
That is crazy, dude.
And just a weird looking cover, and the two don't seem related, but somehow they are. And I'm guessing that's the Martian guy, the guy that came from Mars. And that author, he has written tons of books, and one of them was The Number of the Beast.
That's crazy.
And so the author that Elon likes writes a book called The Number of the Beast, and there's two different options for his cover as well. This is literally, you can say, well, maybe it wasn't biblical, but there's a 6, and a 6 on the head of a literal beast here. And then this planet here, this red planet, has a 6, and a 6 built into the crater.
Straight up, dude.
And so it's right there. And that's the author that wrote the book that he is now naming his new super AI after, that he's going to infiltrate with everything. It's given this power to do all these different things because they're going to make it godlike. They're always trying to make what man creates better than what the Most High creates, and they can't. Right. These things can't reproduce. They can't heal themselves. They can't do the things that our Father made us to do. We have the breath of life. And so they're just trying to mimic. But when I started looking into the book, because it pulls up a few paragraphs, a sample of what's in there, and it talks about this character, this Martian guy, being an intelligent creature with ancestry of man, but he is more Martian than man. So in other words, he's mixed with something else.
Well, we know that aliens or Martians are demons, so this guy's half demon, half man, and he's more demon than man.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's brought up by a race which has nothing in common with us. There's that aspect. And then I saw a name here that stood out, Captain Van Trump. And it reminded me of a book that I'd came across that was probably one of the most deep rabbit holes ever of it was crazy because somebody shared some pictures of this on Facebook, and I was like, let me just fact check this because this can't be true. And sure enough, in the Library of Congress, this book was there. Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. And Baron Trump was a time traveler. And when you look at the full name of this character, it's William Baron Trump or Wilhelm Baron Trump. Baron Trump's name is Baron William Trump.
That's crazy,
and I thought,
dude.
This is like so crazy. And I looked up the full name of the guy in that book that we were just talking about, Stranger in a Strange Land, and the captain's name is William Van Trump. So you've got that Van, kind of like Vance and Trump. William Van Trump. He was a man of humanity, all these different things they say about him.
What book was this in?
The quote at the top of the screen is from Stranger in a Strange Land. That's the name of the guy. Van Trump is William Van Trump. Very similar to William Barron Trump.
Yeah, the Barron Trump. What is that from?
That's from Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. It's from the 1800s.
Okay.
And it's or late 1800s, I believe. And then where it got really weird, though, was looking how similar he looked to Mr. Barron Trump here. Even the dog, the family dog looks the same. It's kind of weird.
Oh, that is really weird. What?
Yeah, I mean, look at the dog. It's the same face, like the time-traveling dog.
Dude, no way. Wow. Wishbone. It's the story.
Yeah.
Wishbone.
Yeah. All this stuff's interconnected, but there's his little demon figure right here. This guy must be a Nephilim. Look at that. Oh. But
wow.
This is from that book, same picture I showed you earlier. But what happened was there was another book that came after this called The Last President.
No way.
And there was people being told to keep inside their houses, quarantines. And I was finding this out around the time, when they had the pandemics and all of that. So I was like, oh my goodness. This was like right before the election when I was starting to see all this. And I was going, Donald Trump's going to be the president. He's going to be the last president. And then Biden won. And I was like, man, this book's stupid. It didn't come true. And now here we are on the verge of a Trump presidency yet again. And it was a madness in this book. Whenever this president gets elected, this last president, there's that Trump aspect. He also has somebody in his cabinet with the last name Pence, and his hotel was on the Fifth Avenue in New York. And it says right here, the quote from the book, the Fifth Avenue Hotel will be the first to feel the fury of the mob. And so they had to send troops in and all this stuff. And would they be there in time to save it? But that's where Trump Tower is, Fifth Avenue in New York.
Dude.
Same place.
And this was written in 1900 or what?
Around that time. It's like 19. That was actually what the book was called, 1900, The Last President. It may have been written in 1898 or something. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of when it was written. I can't remember. But they had a lot of things, and their election was November 3rd. I guess that's kind of a common time. Sometimes it's not that day, but usually it's on a November 3rd. And I think this time was a Tuesday as well, the voting. When we had our election Tuesday, was it November 3rd? Was that what it was this year?
I think it's the 4th. 4th. I was born on November 3rd, and I think election day is always the 4th or the 5th, something like that.
Okay, so it was still on a Tuesday this year, I think, because it was reminding my wife and I of that Lego movie. Remember President Business, Taco Tuesday, trying to end the world?
Lord Business.
Yeah. So we were like, oh my goodness, that movie actually helped us wake up, because the guy, that little Emmett, he's talking and he's like, but he's such a good guy. He makes, and the place where he, what was it? I'm trying to think of the name of the business that pretty much runs everything, corporation. He's like, they make all history books, voting machines. And then he's like, wait a minute. He kind of has like that moment of like clarity of like, wait, they make everything.
I didn't even remember all that in it. I know it's completely Gnostic though, because it's all about, the whole Lego world. Everything's awesome because we all live by the instruction books. But then Lucy, the girl Lucy, which in Gnosticism it's this female Lilith. No, is it Lilith? No, I can't remember her name now, but
I don't remember.
Yeah.
She represents the serpent in the garden who's waking Adam and Eve up from this tyrannical villain of a god who put them in this perfect world. But yeah, her name is Lucy, like Lucifer, and she's the one that's waking Emmett up and saying, no, you have to like literally tear up the floors and all that kind of stuff. And when he comes face to face with his father, who's Lord Business, the dad looks around and sees all the rules and stuff, and he ends up just, tearing it all apart with his kid and putting the Legos together in all different ways and stuff. And so again, Satan loves to wrap up things in a different package. Like it's all about creativity. But why is the bad guy named Lord?
Builder. Builders are masons. Masons are a type of a builder,
Wow.
That's right.
So you're a master mason, you're a master builder, and somebody in the comments, and I always read comments, and somebody said, it's interesting that Yeshua was talked to as the stone that the builders rejected, right? What kind of builders work with stones?
Masons, right?
Masons.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
That's crazy, dude.
Yes.
Wow.
It's like the stone that the builders rejected, and they said, you do know that the builders using stones are Masons, and I'm like, oh no.
Wow.
There's a connection. Now I can't unsee that. Yeah, that was definitely interesting with that book and all those connections. And so it's more of like a conspiracy rabbit trail, but still, I feel like the demons want to put their information out there because they know the plan, they know what they're trying to do, and they're going to put it out there in books for years. They're so excited, they can't wait. Kind of like when you want to tell somebody a secret, like you got them a present, you almost want to just tell them. Like they want to tell their part and put it out there as much as they can. Makes them feel good.
I just heard a quote. I can't even remember where I saw it now, but it said, symbols are to keep things secret for those who don't have eyes to see, but they're to reveal to those who do have eyes to see. So if you're a Mason and you know all this symbology and you see, Gmail, yep, that's my boy right there. That's that apron. Yeah. Oh, Google Play Store, yep. Lucifer's sigil. They're seeing this stuff. They know, like, okay, that's one of my buddies because they're using the Masonic logo. But it's right. So what I'm saying is they put this stuff in your face because they're telling their prophecy, their side of the prophecy. It's like predictive programming. It's telling you what's going to happen almost to where you're accepting it because, like I said, demons don't have any authority to come into your life unless you invite them in. If we're sitting around and we're watching movies that literally make God the villain, make Satan the hero, and has a prophecy about fighting against God and all these things, and we're entertaining ourselves with that and we're getting enjoyment out of it, then we're allowing Satan into our lives. And so that's why they do that. They're wanting to put their message out to the world in a way that makes us love it. And they're telling their prophetic view. It's crazy, man.
That was my favorite childhood memories. Superheroes, Superman, light, Kal-El, light God. I did not know that it meant light God in Hebrew. And it's creepy. Now that I think about how much
he fought against Lex Luthor, the law.
Yeah. Wow.
So man, this was a recent tweet by Elon Musk. Him and Trump are just like good buds now, but why would you post a picture of this with your kid, me and Trump, my buddy, and put Novus Ordo Seclorum right there, dude? I mean, that's Latin for New World Order. The new order of the secular, seclorum means worldly, and it's right, the same slogan that we see on the dollar bill. Why did he put that there? He's literally telling everybody, like, now that Trump's in, we're gonna have a new world order.
Yeah, people are buying it. It's sad. Like I hate it because I like patriotism was such a big thing when I was growing up, and it's hard realizing it's not. It's people don't just want to give up and lay down. It's like we're gonna just give this country up and let them win, But our father was the king, and Israel wanted a king. They wanted a king of their own, just like the surrounding nations. And we have doomed ourselves to this type of system that we have. People act like the law's a burden, but I'm losing 31% of my paycheck every month to taxes.
Right.
10% would be a dream. If you said, hey, we're going to have this system where we're only going to take 10% and that's it. You can buy your food tax free. You can grow it out of the ground. It's free. You don't have to pay taxes on your land. Like, there's a really good system. You acquire wealth. That's okay. It's like all this stuff was set up to bless people. And now it's like we've got them taking our money, which the prophet Samuel, he told us what would happen. He said, this is going to happen. They're going to take this. They're going to take that. And here we are. Man. Now Elon's getting, he's going to help with budgeting and spending. Meanwhile, his company that we're paying is getting billions of dollars. They're spending more on space travel now than they ever have. How is that efficient,
Yeah.
How about that's right there. Cut some of that out.
Did you vote on that? Did you vote to do that?
Did I vote?
Yeah. Did you vote to that's where you wanted your tax dollars to go?
No. It's like
I don't remember that either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
Strange times. And then There was that Trump Tower thing. I just wanted to prove to people we're not making this stuff up, that Trump Tower is Fifth Avenue.
Really on Fifth
Just
Avenue.
like the book. Just like the book. Now we're going to talk about the good book, and there's a book of the law that you read about when you're reading the Bible. This is where it gets biblical and where it really hits home, because you think of the words that our Messiah talks about when he returns, and hopefully you can remember those words, because he told his disciples, this is what, basically when he returns, what he's going to say. And it's words, and those words, depart from me, are followed by a certain phrase.
Right.
And we'll get into that, but I want you guys to be thinking about that. If you don't know it, you might want to look into it, because that's not Old Testament stuff. That's not New Testament. That is future quotes. It's what he's going to say when he returns. And we read about a book of the law with Deuteronomy here. And it says this: if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law. And so it's talking about that book of the law. You see that word a lot. When you look it up, just type in book of the law. It'll pop up in Bible Gateway over and over and over. And I thought, what is this book? Like it's not Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. It sounds like it's its own book,
Right.
So I started looking into it. I was trying to find it. The first thing the internet pulls up, the absolute first book, the book of the law, was a satanic version.
Oh my goodness.
It was Aleister Crowley's book from 1904. It was called the Book of the Law.
Yeah.
And this was his satanic scripture, dictated to him by demons. And this book of the law serves as the foundation. This thing actually impacted society, culture, that do as thou wilt, that whole free love, hippie movement and all that stuff, and the music industry was all impacted by the writings from this guy. They were all, it was a shift, and he called it the Eon of Horus. And look at the Egyptian deity above the globe for SpaceX and their stuff. It's all mimicking this religion. The logo in the middle is their Thelema religion, the satanic religion. And you see those types of marks in everything, in space travel. Star Trek, I think, had the big logo just very similar to that. And you'll see why.
It's interesting that pharaoh looking thing was like gazing right up at a star. And I'm just thinking of, Lucifer, son of the morning, and all that kind of stuff. We know that stars are symbolic for angels. We know that Lucifer is a fallen angel, and maybe I'm reaching, but that's just what I see.
Yeah, no, it gets deep. The stars is what I want people to think about, because it's important to them and the demons. There was an agenda with the stars. And so whenever Trump said a star is born, and he's talking about Elon, it's what caught my attention. Because that book of the law, and I don't like reading from it. I don't like mentioning some of the things they say. They're very crafty. You have to realize you're dealing with dark powers that have been leading the Father's people astray. People that watch the Red Sea part, they can lead those people astray. Right. Humble yourself and know that you can be led astray. You have to stay away from this stuff. But I want you to see just a snapshot into what they're saying, because they push this in rap culture. You'll see rappers that say, which slogans, do as thou wilt. I didn't even know what that meant. But essentially, it's lawlessness. And those demons, that's what they want to push. And you'll hear their wording. It sounds good to your flesh, because your flesh wants to give in to temptation. And so they're preying on that. And it says here, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. I am the snake that giveth knowledge and delight and bright glory, and steer the hearts of men with drunkenness to worship me, take wine and strange drugs. They want you in a state of not being sober, just drunkenness. Exactly. Whereof I will tell my prophet, and be drunk thereof, lust, enjoy all things of sense and rapture. Fear not that any God shall deny thee for this. So they're saying, don't worry about other gods. Nobody's going to do anything to you. Just be lawless. Well, guess what? When those demons were facing the Messiah face to face, they didn't sound so bold and cocky.
That's right.
They were terrified. And you see this right here in Matthew chapter 8. It says, when he came to the other side, into the country of Gergesens, or however you say that, there met him two possessed with devils. That's those unclean spirits. Same types of ones talking to Aleister Crowley, coming out of tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, what have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before our time? They know they have a time. Their
Yep.
clock is ticking. And so when you go back to their prideful language, it's like, oh, don't worry about any God, punishing you for this stuff or denying you.
Yeah. What
Meanwhile,
you're
they
saying
know
about
they're going to be punished.
what you're saying about this "do what thou wilt," it was Jay-Z had that directly written on his chest, but it comes in many forms. When Disney says it, it's follow your heart. But the Bible
Yes.
says the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? So, yeah, he wraps it up in these fluffy things. Like you got songs that are like, do what you want to do and listen to your heart and all this stuff. It's
Yes.
over and over and over, from Disney to every pop song to every movie in some form or fashion, is saying, do what you want. Even back as far as Frank Sinatra, he had that I did it my way, and so many people
Yes.
remade that song, and it's like one of the most satanic songs. It was recognized like the oldest, most satanic song.
Yeah, it is. And it comes back to this particular type of mindset all the way back to ancient Egypt and beyond. Before that, before the flood, and that X symbol, with Horus, that deity that has the arms in the X shape. This is the words that allegedly he spoke in that book of the law. And it's sad. It's sad, but we know it's not true. We know that he's a liar. And he says here, with my hawk's head, I peck at the eyes of Jesus as he hung upon the cross. I flap my wings in the face of Muhammad. There you go. Get the Muslims. Let them
Yeah.
realize they're in this battle too, of Muhammad, and blind him. With my claws, I tear out the flesh of the Indian and the Buddhist. Doesn't sound racist at all. It's all
Right.
about they're the accepting side. Meanwhile, they're
Right.
talking about killing a Jewish man, poking his eyes out, doing all these different things. And they say, I spit on your crapulous creeds. They're the one that helped write the creeds.
Wow.
And so they have all these different things. I don't want to read all of it, but right at the very end, it says, but the keen and the proud, the royal and the lofty, ye are brothers. So they want them to feel like they are royal and lofty and brothers. As brothers, fight ye. I remember that slogan, fight, remember?
Right.
There is no law beyond do as thou wilt. And look at Aleister Crowley on the right. He's mimicking their symbol from the days of old. That
Yep.
exact cross mark right there, the X that Aubrey was talking about. It's important to them for a reason, that crossing over, getting people to mess with that, invite them powers in. And this book, the reception of this book, Crowley proclaimed to be the arrival of a new stage in the spiritual evolution of humanity. And he referred to it as the Eon of Horus. With that, of course,
Wow.
do as thou wilt being the whole of the law. And that's what you're seeing being pushed. And look at how they write that, the A and the E connected there. That'll come up into play in a minute.
Do you remember a long time ago there was a cartoon on MTV called Eon Flux? They made a movie
Yes.
about it too, but that was the same spelling right there.
Really? I didn't even catch that. That was a dark cartoon. I remember that because there were certain channels we weren't allowed to watch after
yeah.
certain hours. And that was one where that would come on at night. And of course, when you're
Definitely.
told not to do something, kind of like the prohibition, don't do it. You're like, let me see what I'm missing out on here.
Right.
So yeah, that's very crafty the way they work. And right here, this is an important one for people to know when they're investigating reality of what we live on, because this is what the demons was saying back then. They said, "Ye shall know that the chosen priest and apostle." Those words sound familiar because you hear them in the Bible. They have their version of infinite space is the prince, priest, the beast, and in his woman called the scarlet woman is all power given. They shall gather, and now he's going to try to sound like the Most High. They shall gather my children into their fold. They shall bring the glory of the stars into the hearts of men.
Wow, dude.
Since I am infinite space and the infinite stars. So he's deceiving his own people, telling them, I'm infinite space, I'm infinite stars. And what do you see these people promoted by the world saying? Billions and light years and infinite and on and on and on. They're pushing these demonic lies. These lies of infinite space come from demons.
That's right.
And they want you to glory in the stars. And what I find interesting is not just the Masonic stars, the Hollywood star. You want to be a superstar, a rock star, Star Wars, Star Trek. So many times we grew up with the stars. And even the Star Trek logo, I was looking at it. It's like an upside down cross with like goat horns in the middle of it.
I know.
But being a rock star, wishing upon a star. And Disney, and I was thinking about their little logo song as we were getting set up to go. And it's when you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires come to you. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do. Isn't
That's
that
crazy,
dark?
It's always your heart.
Yeah.
That's how you
Sweet
manifest
fulfillment of
and
their
do all
secret
kinds of
longing. Oh my goodness, this gets darker as I'm
Oh.
reading. I didn't even read I didn't read this part earlier. Fate is kind. See, it sounds like a demon wrote this. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing, like a bolt out of the blue. And a fallen angel there. Fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. AKA signed off by Aleister Crowley's demon, who now works for Disney. I mean, that is just
bow to
it's
Satan, he
extremely.
will give you all the kingdoms of the world, right?
Yeah, and he will. And the stars, where the truth is with the stars, you take away their lies of infinite space. Day 4 of creation is when the stars were actually made, and he made the stars. And I want to read this because this ties into the glory of stars. We're going to look at what they really are. It says, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, which is appointed times, and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And what did he do with those lights? It says he made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. So the stars are separate from the greater light and the lesser light. They're not the same. You have the greater light, the sun, the moon, and the stars. So 3 types of lights right there being made, and he sets them in the firmament.
Right.
That's the biggest deal right there. They're there for a reason. They were set there by our Father. And guess what? Now they're in infinite space, like the demon said. There's no firmament. There's no expanse. They're infinite space.
Yep.
What does NASA tell us? That our sun isn't even the great light that our Father tells us it is. It's just a medium-sized star.
Wow.
That's what we're looking at above us, a medium-sized star, and we're not in the center. It is now in the center, and we are going around it at 500,000 miles per hour. And so they want us to glory in stars so much that even the main light that we see every single day is a star in our imaginations growing up. That is how far they will go to twist the truth of creation, and it's heartbreaking seeing that people like me who knew the Creator, had miracles happen, believed the demonic version of reality. So there's just so much to it. I mean, we're bringing stars into our house every single
company
year.
Or what do you want to call it? An organization whose name literally is the Hebrew word for to deceive, to beguile, to lead astray. Nasa in Hebrew.
Yeah. I mean, it's heartbreaking, but it's a wake up call. I think people need is to see where their beliefs and why they've seen so many things over and over. At the start of that Disney movie, they always play that music, "When You Wish Upon a Star" music. It's demonic,
Yeah.
At the opening of every one, and I watched them growing up. We had a big case of Disney movies. Our mom wanted us to have a good childhood, and she thought, if you have all the Disney movies, you have a good childhood. And we did have a good childhood, but anytime you could find the VHS at a yard sale, we'd get them, and we had almost every single Disney cartoon, and we'd watched almost every single one of them. I had no clue I was being brainwashed subliminally by all that stuff, but fortunately, being called out of Egypt, out of Babylon, and then, of course, here looking at, like we talked about, the enemy having a version of their thing, of the Father's truth. They like to have things that mimic that. And I feel like this could be one of those things. I could be wrong, but this has to do. And I don't like talking about somebody's children, but Elon has 12 children, a lot like Jacob in the Bible. And Jacob had 6 children with his first wife, or with, I guess, Leah. And here this guy is having 6 children with his first. Of course, his first child passed away, sadly. And then he had twins and triplets with this lady. And so 6 children, 1 lady. And their names, and I think, Mikey, you're going to get into the meanings of the names. You've done some more digging than what I did. But one of them, X, and I said, remember that AE and the Eon of Horus, what it looks like? That's what the AE looks like in the name here. And they tried to put numbers in his name. Sounds very revelational, but tried to put numbers in this child's name. And they said, no, that's illegal. So you have to use the Roman numeral 2.
The number of his name. That's crazy.
Yeah. So they're like, we're not going to let you do that. It's illegal in California. You figure California would be like, sure, just
Right.
as long
Wait
as
a
it's
minute.
666.
Are you misgendering me? Are you like, come
Mm.
on, I'm whatever I want to be. I can be numbers. I can be a symbol like Prince.
Yeah. So their name meanings. I mean, it's something you wouldn't want to name your child. A bunch of numbers and letters and things like that. But they nicknamed this person Dark Star. And then
That's crazy.
the nickname, one of his kids is actually named Dark Side Real, Exa Dark Side Real. And so their nickname is Y or Y. So just a letter again. And then just weird names. Just so many weird things. The 12th child have their
I didn't
name
even recognize
released.
that one's name, the one with the weird symbols and stuff. Is they nicknamed that? Is it a boy or a girl?
I think boy. I could be wrong. I just
who knows anymore.
Colored on blue. I was assuming 12 boys, but I could be wrong. The
They
videos are
nickname
very
it
hard to
Dark Star. If a star is an angel, you're talking about a dark angel.
Dark
and then you
Star.
got one that's literally called Exa Dark Syria. Like, what's up with the dark names, man?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Darkness. I mean, it's pray for those children because I mean they're born into this. So I know pray for Elon too, that hopefully he can have a change of heart, not fulfill his purpose, and the enemy can always find somebody else. You know, there's always somebody on backup. And then there's what you were finding. I want to hear about this. Some of the things you guys were seeing.
Nevada. I just looked up every name, but Nevada actually means snow cap or snowy, which I'm thinking of, that wall, that ice wall that's holding everything in.
Yeah.
So that may or may not be a stretch, but it seems like all the names of his kids kind of go together to tell some kind of message or something. So you have like the snow-capped or snowy, and then Xavier. Again, you got these X's everywhere. Remember X-Men, the guy the leader of X-Men, his name was Xavier.
Oh yeah, that's one letter away from being Savior. X and Savior.
Wow, dude. Yeah, and it means new house or castle. So I don't exactly know what that means, but it's talking about some Jesuit.
Yeah.
That's where that name came from, where a Jesuit missionary found St. Francis Xavier was born. So he may be referencing it to this Jesuit guy. And then the next name, so Xavier got turned into Vivian. So one of his kids is trans, which means alive or lively. But down at the bottom it says that who gave King Arthur his sword Excalibur. So again, you got another X. It's like everything points back to X. Xavier, Excalibur. Griffin is a winged lion-bodied creature, and it also means Lord or Prince. So
that's in Revelation.
Yeah, and when you look in the Bible in Daniel, the lion with eagle's wings represented Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
So he named his child a beast that is in reference to Babylon.
Wow. That is creepy.
So this is why I mean like a story, because Kaya means sea. And where did that lion with eagle's wings come out of?
Oh, man.
The sea.
Out of the sea. Wow.
And this could also be, talking about the waters above the firmament or something too.
That is dark.
So one of the kids' names is, what is it again? Saxon.
Saxon.
And it says, the Bible does not provide much information about the Anglo-Saxons, but some have interpreted in different ways. The End of Anglo-Saxon Age and the Coming of the Antichrist by Richard Gentry. So I don't exactly know like all the details of the Anglo-Saxons, but I just think it's interesting that it's biblical. It has to do with something to do with Antichrist. But you found out that it meant dagger, right? Sword or dagger.
That's what it said on the one I looked up. I just thought it's interesting.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I just got my stuff straight out of Google, but it's interesting that even where it says AI overview, they have a star right next to it.
Yeah, right?
Put those stars everywhere.
So true.
Yeah. Star power.
Damien. To me, that's just associated with evil right there. But it says Damien is given the name that means to conquer. So we have a winged lion that comes out of the sea and with a dagger or a sword will conquer You see what I mean?
Jeez.
Like telling a prophecy through the names of these kids.
Yeah, enemy's got their version. Wow.
And so this kid's name that is like XAE. So I looked up what the parents say the meaning is, and I think this is the wife. Grimes is, or the, not even the wife, girlfriend or whatever. Explaining the meaning behind the name, Grimes said X stands for the unknown variable, so it means unknown. Meanwhile, AE is the elven spelling, so this is some elf junk, and elves aren't no Keebler elves making cookies. These are demons. It's an elven language spelling. It's the elven spelling of AI. So now you got an unknown AI, which is shorthand for artificial intelligence, but also the word love. You know, it's like, come on, tell us what you really meant. Don't give us like multiple things here. And A12, which is our favorite aircraft, something that's flying in the sky.
Amber said the nickname for that craft was the Son of Darkness, like one of the nicknames for the SR-17 because it's black.
It does say, that is crazy right there, but it does say Archangel. So if you put this together, you got an unknown AI Archangel. And then if you go to the next one, this is what Elon Musk says. Yeah, you were right.
Oh, sorry.
The next one. So Grimes and Musk seem to have different ideas. This was on a regular, like, I don't know, like Today Show or something. Grimes and Musk seem to have different ideas on how to pronounce the name. It's just X, like the letter X. And then AI, like how you say the letter AI, Grimes said. That's what she said. Then Musk, meanwhile, told podcast Joe Rogan, I mean, it's just X, like the letter X. And then the AE is pronounced Ash. And then A12 is my contribution. So she said it was like a love song, her favorite song or something. So now look what he's saying it means. It's an unknown archangel from the ashes, or who will become ashes. This is Lucifer, man. When you read, I think it's Isaiah or Ezekiel. I don't know why I always get those two mixed up, but there's a whole prophecy about the fate of Satan, and it says that you were in the Garden of Eden and you were perfect in all your ways until iniquity was found in you. And I will lay you before kings, and I will bring a fire from the midst of thee, and you will become ashes on the face of the earth and be no more. That's the fate of Satan. And now you have this name that means a unknown archangel you got ashes. So it's like either it's rising out of the ashes, or he's going to become ashes, or I don't think that's a coincidence, man.
No. Too many coincidences for it to be a coincidence.
I know. Then azure means sky blue, which I don't know. Maybe you can say Elon loves the sky. He's always shooting stuff up in the sky, but
fire coming down from heaven.
Strider means it's a German surname for a soldier. So again, we got this, coming to conquer, soldier, a nickname for someone who's aggressive. A strider comes from the words stride, or it can also mean a noun of a person who walks or travels on foot. I think it's more like this aggressive soldier that's going to conquer with the sword that represents Babylon that's coming out of the sea. And so this name is Exadarca Siderel, and Exa is a feminine name of American origin that means adorned. Okay, this is another one you're going to have to put together. So Exa means adorned. And dark, because her middle name is Dark. I guess it's a her. We know what dark means, no light. So it's a adorned dark star, because this word means relating or to involving stars or constellations. So if a star represents an angel and it's a dark angel that is adorned, we know that Lucifer has every precious stone was his covering. I mean, is this a stretch?
Jeez.
It literally means an adorned dark angel. And then he has this other kid named Techno Machinius or Mechanus or whatever it is. Mechanicus. And it just means machine-like, which I just think is crazy.
AI.
Name your son a Terminator, basically.
Yes, where is John Connor when we need him?
I know, JC, come on.
Yeah, I thought that was weird looking into all this stuff because when I was looking into this, just a random like news clip about AI popped up last year, and I click on it, and it's talking about how it's taken over in China, and everything in AI, everything is like these cameras that can scan your well-being and your personality and how you're feeling and all these different things they can do. And I'm looking at the corner when the guy is watching from like this headquarters where you can see all the camera screens, of people walking down the streets, and it had the name Skynet.
Right there, way, dude.
I was like, Skynet? I was like, wait, wasn't that Terminator? And I started freaking out. I was like, let me look. Sure enough, Skynet was.
So again, predictive programming.
Yeah. So they've put it out there. The demons have their plan. They have their Skynet. Think about that. There's a firmament above us, but now they have a net or a web and the World Wide Web trapping us with their Skynet from above.
Wow.
Darkness. But yeah, that lawlessness aspect with all of this, what I was talking about at the beginning, one of the things that the demons taught mankind obviously was lawlessness. According to the book of Enoch, I just put it in number form so you can see, godlessness. And that's what those demons were saying. Don't worry about any other God doing anything to basically keep you in line. You can just do whatever you want. But they were teaching all these different things. One of them even being abortion, talked about in the book of Enoch. They taught them how to smite the infants in the womb. And I'm like, that sounds like abortion because it is. They even taught them the mixing of roots to make birth control so that the women could keep their figures, reducing the populations, things like that. Very, very lawless. And there was something that's related to that name, Ash, when I looked it up.
What'd you find on that?
The deity El that I looked up was called AI. So you had that AI aspect as well.
What?
I don't know much about that. So I don't want to talk about it because I don't know a whole lot about it, but somebody sent me something and said, look into this. And I did. And I was like, the Canaanite deity, sometimes known as AI. Where was I thought I had another slide in here. I guess I don't. With the Messiah, when he returns, his quote, what he's going to say. And it's powerful. Depart from me, those of you who practice lawlessness. And that is what they're trying to usher in, to do as thou wilt, to be the whole of the law. And when you look up that word lawlessness, it means utter disregard for God's law. And I don't know about you guys, but I was raised being told that don't worry about the law stuff. That's all ancient, done away with. Don't even worry about it. And now I'm learning about it and looking into it and trying not to be lawless. And I'm going, man, there's some good stuff in here. This is some take care of your parents when they're older. Love your neighbor. I'm just saying, like, there's so many good things. And it's like, no, utterly disregard it. And if you don't, you're doing away with the sacrifice. And I think a lot of that is lawlessness being ushered in. And man, these names, that was crazy. I'm glad you did that with those names. I knew there was something there. I just never looked into it. But getting back to that, do as thou wilt, eon of horror stuff. That's what they want. They want you guys to do as thou wilt, make that be the whole of the law.
Wow, man.
Sad.
Did you, was that the last slide you had?
Yeah, that was the last one. You can take that down now. Yeah, I just thought it's important for people to see. They want us to focus in glory in the stars. They want us to be lawless, and they want us to hear those words, depart from me, and then it apply to us. And the Father, He wants us to be saved. He sent us His Son as an example, and the world has their worldly examples, and got to stop following the worldly examples and follow in the footsteps of the Messiah.
What's interesting is, it's amazing how many, I would say, the Christians voted for Trump, and they trust him. They look to him like he's going to make good change and all that stuff. And yet he's the one that's only Elon could do that. Bring down fire.
Only he can make fire come down from above. Do you not remember the prophets of Baal?
Yeah. And Elon
the pillar of fire.
Yeah. And Elon's like, I'm gonna make. There was a time when Elon said, this AI stuff, it's gonna get out of hand, and we should be afraid of this. And now he's like, come on, let's microchip your brain and let's make AI.
Yeah.
And dude, what are the chances that Trump, the last president, the last Trump, is teaming up with this guy who is pushing the propaganda of infinite space and space travel and colonizing Mars and bringing in artificial intelligent robots and self-driving cars. I mean, this is how every dystopian movie plays out.
Yeah. Yeah. And he talks about it like, well, you're not going to have to work. You'll have a fixed income. And it sounds great to people that are like, that'd be nice to just have robots coming in, cooking my food, and me have a fixed income. It just sounds so good. It's like, oh, that'd be nice. But I think with the whole forcing us into our homes and not working and doing things increases lawlessness. When you were looking at the pandemic time periods, trafficking and people going to different websites and stuff went skyrocketed because they're not working. They don't have that purpose, that drive. They're just, here's you a check. Here's $500 or whatever. They're, $5,000 here. No, go stay locked down. But lawlessness started increasing real bad at that moment.
People, when those checks started coming in, they said, this pays me more than my job. Why would I get a job? Yeah, like, I can't even afford to get a job because I'm making more money sitting at home. And idle hands are the devil's playground. That's not a scripture, but it is the truth.
Yeah.
When you're not working, the Bible does say, if you don't work, you don't eat, and things like that. We are supposed to do things, not just sit around and be tempted by everything. I mean, especially if you're watching TV, you're scrolling around on the internet, there's always going to be temptation. There's always going to be some ad for something you shouldn't be looking at, or just some debauchery that's being glamorized. And we're really just wasting time. We're living in the end times. And if we're not in God's word, we're not in prayer, then Satan's winning. That's the only defense we have against him. We are weak. We are pathetic in the sight of a angel. Now, a lot of Christians don't like you talking about Satan like he's powerful, but he is. Let's be realistic. One angel could slay thousands of people, and even Jesus knew he had to depend on the word of God to fight Satan. And that's why it's the sword of the Spirit. And that's Satan's main tactic, is to distract, keep us distracted, keep you scrolling, keep you playing addictive video games, keep you intoxicated through drugs, alcohol, terrible food that's destroying your body, all these things. And he's ready to come out on the scene as a false Christ. And the worse and worse the world gets, the more the stage is being set up with these natural disasters and 86 genders and age is just a preference and all this stuff. The world is primed and ready to say, we need change. We need to get back to God because this world is going crazy. And now you got a president that's saying, I'm going to make America pray again.
Yeah.
You can't force people to pray. You can't force religion onto society. It never works. God never forces himself on any humanity. The greatest gift God ever gave was freedom of choice. That's true love. And so I see things going towards this far right swing where there's going to be forced worship. And we see that in Revelation. And I think it's going to be kind of this coexist, like we're all the children of God. And if you don't believe that, then you're the problem. You're a bigot. You need to be locked up. And we just all need to, go to church every Sunday and check in. It's all going to be like some kind of system, like, all right, I went, I'm checking in, I worship the beast today.
Let me scan my wrist. Beep.
Right. The social credit scores and all this stuff. Oh, you missed church. Your social credit score dropped. You can't take public transport today.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't go to work during the pandemic until they got a scanner and they scanned your forehead, like, beep. All right, you're good.
That's
you
crazy,
can go
dude.
in. I'm like, I'm glad I don't have a barcode. That's the one thing that keeps us apart. But yeah, you were talking about praying in the end times and stuff, and it reminded me, as I'm looking into the AI, is there was a time where Israel battled AI, literally battled what was called AI, and they were losing. It was the one time where they were losing. They came back defeated. They lost a few dozen people, and they're like, what's going on? The Father's usually taking out these people for us. We don't have to do this. But the Father revealed there was a sin. Somebody had sinned. They had disobeyed and taken treasure from, I think, Jericho, and kept it, buried it, hid it. And when that person, Acor, I think Acor was the name,
Arcan.
was punished.
Yeah.
Is it Acan? Acan?
I had
Or
just looked
something
it
like
up before we got on, and it was like
Yeah.
Acan or Arcan or something. Yeah.
Acan or Acan, yeah. And so he was punished. He was punished. And once he was punished and they purified themselves and they repented, then they destroyed AI. And they didn't just destroy them, they surrounded AI on different sides. And whenever AI came out and they saw Joshua and a few of them, Joshua and them, I think they like ran off and act like they were retreating. And so AI is prideful, like, oh, we're going to go get them. And then they look back and their town is on fire because Israel just blazed their place, set it on fire. And then they're like, well, now we're trapped. And then they got wiped out. So AI lost. Could be prophetic there. AI losing. They may get the upper hand for a minute. They might be taken over and think they're winning and have us outnumbered. But once we purify ourselves, we serve a living, powerful, all-powerful creator. Amen. And their powers of darkness are nothing. They can't touch us once we get within that actual realm, the spirit realm, the Holy Spirit realm, not the demonic realm that they want us to get in with their X's and crossing over and all that. Holy Spirit is powerful. It's real. They don't want you to know who you are, what you live on, and what you're capable of when you have the Holy Spirit. And so there's so many different things you can do, and there's no limit to our Father's power. He made everything, and He is our creator. We're His inheritance. And so I'm blessed to be that inheritance. And seeing some questions. Somebody asked if we were in the little season. I can't remember who it was that asked that. And I wanted to answer that and say we're in the long season. It's the same goal. The goal is there's a threat from above. That is what you're going to be seeing in the news. They're doing that with the aliens now, the threats from above. Once the reign begins, once the return happens and every eye sees the Messiah, then we're going to have that 1,000 years of peace where the enemy's bound. Just like there's enemies bound now, they're going to be bound. Then they're going to be let loose, and then there's a little season. And the reason when you hear the word little season and going out to deceive the world, you think, oh my goodness, that sounds like where we're at now. We have the same goal right now with these unclean spirits like frogs going to the kings of the earth to deceive them, to gather them together to battle in a place called Armageddon. Guess what? Armageddon is owned by the United Nations. They're going to try to unite the world powers to go there. That's crazy. They've already done a rehearsal. They had a drill, Steadfast Defender, where they had, I think it was like 90,000 troops, army tanks and everything. Like they were there to practice in case there was a near-peer threat. And so they're practicing near, and they did this near Armageddon. So they're practicing these things and getting us geared up for this threat from above, this alien threat, this extraterrestrial threat. Even the movie Armageddon that was in the 90s, late 90s, you guys probably remember that, Armageddon. Where was the threat from? Up above. Who saved us? Who was the savior? NASA. NASA was our savior. They saved us. They sent people who were digging down deep into the earth, down into Sheol to go. They're going to save us. These people from down below the earth came up and got hired by NASA and destroyed this asteroid. And so, yeah, the threat's from above right now. With the little season, where's the threat? The threat is the camp of the saints. It's already there. And people have been going every year to keep the Feast of Tabernacles from every nation. Otherwise, they won't get rain. And so that hasn't been going on, and we're getting rain. And so, yeah, they're similar. Little Armageddon, Gog, Magog, similar purpose, attack the Most High and His people. And so, when there's a resurrection and we're gathered by angels and we're up there, who knows? We might be up there. We might be a part of that threat. Wouldn't that be cool? They're like, there's the threat right there.
I do believe that's why we have a space force all of a sudden, and that was under Trump too, which is ironic that Trump brought in the space force. So now we're not just protecting the land, the sea, and the air, but now we're building weapons pointed towards the heavens and creating propaganda that makes it look like that they have a justifiable reason to do it. Because there's an asteroid that's coming so close to Earth, and because there's aliens, and so the people are going to say, yeah, we need these big weapons to point towards the heavens, and they're just preparing to fight Christ when he comes.
We need Elon to save us because this threat is huge. I mean, it's a big threat. It's going to wipe out all the wickedness. We need Elon. Only Elon could do this. Fire from above. Yeah, he's got. I just watch. I will say this on the air. Probably going to be a Tony Stark figure, even more so, really soon with his heroic. Something's going to happen, I feel like, some sort of threat. And they're going to send in old Elon. He's right there, chain of command, and president's buddy with him. He can be on the phone with him. Yeah, we need you, Elon. We got this threat
Only
over
Elon
here.
can bring fire down from heaven.
Can you send up? Maybe you could use Starlink. I don't know. This could be huge.
Yeah.
You gotta laugh at it, man. It's like that's all you can do. We were just watching
laugh at the end
prophecy
times,
roll out.
Their schemes.
Yeah,
MAGA.
It's an interesting time to be alive,
MAGA
man.
is a level of devil worship. Somebody said that in the comments. MAGA.
I saw that recently. I wonder.
Oh,
The Grand Magus. Yeah. They're like the high priest.
Okay.
They have their priest. They have their sacrifices. They mimic the Most High's system. They want to be like him. They have their own appointed times, their own holy days, their high holy days. You guys talked about Halloween, and I learned stuff watching you guys talk about that. I'm I never thought of that. Their holy day, hallowed. He hallowed, certain things, and they're like, we are hallowed. Creepy. We grew up in Babylon. Didn't know it.
Wow, man. Anybody got any closing thoughts? You got anything?
No, I'm shocked to hear what I did, but at the same time, it makes sense. It doesn't literally, I guess, shock me to death. Like, I kind of expected it. I know that inventors on this earth are usually getting supernatural help from the demon world to do so, to move us toward the agenda of the occult, New World Order, and so on, and the Antichrist movement, to move and progress us into the plans they have for us. Yeah. And so, I mean, it all lines up, and it almost seems like he's trying to breed the new Lucifer with all of his children.
Right.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I expected as much.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, bro, thank you so much for covering this on our show, man. It was only like 30 minutes on yours, but I think we did an hour and a half. But it was awesome getting to just kind of discuss and dive deeper in some of these things. So, if people want the short format, the shareable one, they can share yours. It was nice and edited. If they want to hear the long, deep dive that we did, they can watch it here. But if you guys don't know about Founded Earth Brothers, that's what Josh's channel is. Check it out. It's got some amazing content on there. You'll be able to scroll and binge watch for days, but you're going to binge watch something that's actually good and educational and biblical and not a bunch of Netflix garbage. So go check out their stuff. And thank you so much for being on here, man. I really appreciate you sharing what you did. And I hope that people here were blessed.
Yeah. I was blessed to be on here, and thanks for reaching out to us. We need to unite in these last days. We need so many people coming together to form these relationships where they're not fighting over things they don't agree on. Like, we need to unite. They are united. They're trying to keep us divided, left, right, north, south, black, white, straight, whatever they can use to divide us. They're like, let's just section them all up so they can't work together. Because they know if we were to come together and pray to our Creator, and there's power in that. So unite with the other believers. Stay humble.
Amen.
Yes. Very true.
Well, thank you, bro. And we'll stick on there. We'll say something to you afterwards. We're going to sign off here. Thank you guys for joining this conversation. I hope it was a blessing to you. If it was, click the thumbs up. If you're new to this channel, click the subscribe. We want to build a community here of people who are like-minded and where we can even discuss things and, even debate things or whatever. But we want to find the truth. We're all in this journey together. We're all in this deception where the dragon is deceiving the entire world. And so this channel is about finding the truth, talking about it candidly, talking about things that the church doesn't want to talk about, tough topics. If you really enjoy this type of content, you can support this ministry because we stepped out in faith about 4 months ago. We're doing this all just trusting in God that He's going to provide. And so if you feel led to give, we can't thank you enough for that. You can do so through Cashapp, through Venmo, through Zelle. We also have some merch. If you want to go to CandidTruthOrg, there's a button there you can click to see our store, and there's a lot of cool t-shirts there. We actually get probably $5 from each of those sales. And so we design these shirts, and they're a really cool way to just reach out to people with scripture or like a cool message. Like, it's cool to use your brain, because in this world of propaganda, there's so much propaganda about it's cool to be dumb, like Beavis and Butthead. It's not cool to be smart because you'll be shoved in the locker, right? And that's all just propaganda. It's cool and sexy to be smart, and we should all be striving to know the truth. Satan wants us to stay deceived. And we love you guys. We thank you for being here. We can't do this without you guys, and we'll see you next time. Candid Truth.
Thank you.